Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Didikanku with your host, David. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce a very special guest. He's the #1 business coach in Indonesia and founder of Top Coach Indonesia. Coach Tom, welcome to Didikanku.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me in
Thank you for your time, your
excellent podcast.
generosity.
Thank
So, for some of the audience or the listeners who aren't really familiar, what is Top Coach Indonesia and how did you get into business coaching? Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, Top Coach Indonesia is a company that I set in 2009.
Hmm.
Before I uh, have this brand, I was with a coaching firm. I took a coaching franchise in the US, and I bring to Indonesia, and I grew the brand in Indonesia for since 2006 up to 2009, and then I sold the license, and I run my own brand. So that's Top Coach Indonesia. Top Coach Indonesia mainly focusing on the people development,
Hmm.
uh, uh, operation excellence, and also uh, building coaches who wants to become better at Six Sigma, Lean, Tris, and all kind of problem solving methodologies that we teach.
Mm. So just to be clear, Top Coach Indonesia is actually to help coaches to hone their skills in
Right.
what you said is the Six Sigma, and it's not just for public coaching, but it's more for
Yeah.
coach coaching.
And no, we are coaching company for public,
Yep.
but we also help coaches who wants to learn about problem solving techniques
Hmm.
or tools. We can help them to grow and to practice their knowledge about problem solving, because so many businesses that growing in Indonesia right now
Right.
is small and medium companies.
Yep.
But to grow the business, you cannot only rely on management.
Mm.
Most management have problems. That's
Right.
why we need to have problem solving skills to solve those problems using specific tools.
Mm.
For complex problems, we use Six Sigma. For simple problems, we use Lean. But for innovation, we use TRIS. TRIS
Mm.
is a theory of inventive problem solving from Russia.
Mm, wow. So I'm curious a little bit. You've told us a little bit of Top Coach Indonesia, but how about yourself? How did you get into becoming a business coach? Were you always
So
interested in
I
this?
was a professional. No. So in 2002, there was a moment where I decided to help small and medium companies, because at that time I worked as head of division retail business development
Mm,
in one of the travel agency in Indonesia, and we had a very tough time uh, because in 2002, before 2002, 2001, we got hit by um, 911, 9/11.
right.
Travel agent, all the world got hit by that event. It
Yes.
changes a lot of policies in airlines industry, as some airlines were bankrupt because of that because of that event. So people
Yes.
don't want to travel. Uh, Ticket price become very expensive. We have to pay for expensive insurance. So that's the, we thought it was the end of the travel industry until we built a strategy to drive domestic market.
Mm.
So people can go around Indonesia, that's where, Labuan Bajo was introduced. And then there are, in Medan, there's a lot of great tourist destination
Right.
was introduced. And Bali. So Bali was the destination that we sell the most. And then October, Bombali,
Right.
right?
That
So
that must have had a
Bali
huge impact
had
again.
a huge impact for us because people don't want to go to Bali. They are so
Right.
afraid that the terrorists will attack any bar or any hotels. We never know.
Mm.
And before that, JW Marriott, the Australian embassy bombing. So that was a disaster. So our boss said that, well, we have to survive, but there's one thing that you cannot do.
Mm.
That is to reduce the employee. We cannot, sack everybody. We have to be able to survive with what we have, and we have to think, how can we survive? So that's where
Without losing any of the human resources and
that's right.
talent that was
That's right.
already available.
That's right.
Wow,
That's
that must have been a big challenge.
and I was responsible for the whole division. I was responsible for the sales of the almost 80% of the company.
Wow.
So that's where I have to find for help. I learned from Jay Abraham. I took Tony Robbins class. I
Mm.
took Brad Sugar's class,
Wow.
and then I met Action Coach. So I met Action Coach. I see that coaching is something that helped me to understand how I can survive. So I met some of the small business owners that faces the same problem, and I see there are so many small business owners that need help.
Mm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I see, I was a professional. I was not a business owner before, but I met, people who own a big shopping mall, sit in a class together with us from Bandung, or some of them have, huge property business, property developer. Some of them have bimbingan belajar,
Mm.
uh, and they the knowledge of how to run a business was so poor that I
Okay.
see that I see this is a challenge where me as a professional, I I I I can grow the business from 40 billion rupiah to 400 billion with a management strategy, with management knowledge. But
Mm.
these guys still understand that profit is whatever left in the bank after I pay everything uh, um, this month. So whatever left in the bank, I call it profit. So that was terrifying. If these guys who have a responsibility to feed their employees so much, and they don't know that the profit is not that, then that's a problem. Then
Right.
that's a problem. So that's where I see that, oh, I think I need to create a simple system
Mm.
or even education to help business owners understand what business is, how business should be run, how to grow their marketing strategy, how they can, lean their operations, how to reduce, not, they don't have to reduce employee and then they have to, rehire everybody because they're not doing it properly, but they
Right.
can really reduce the cost by create a lean operation.
Mm.
That's where I see, oh, I have a calling right here, right there. So
That's that, sorry to interrupt you, but that's a really interesting journey where you talk about you were actually in the middle of all of these people who seem to have very successful businesses, and yet you were able to see
right,
actually there were problems that you were able, by going through your courses, to find, oh, there's a niche here that needs to be solved, or not a niche,
yeah,
but there's a problem in how people do business that needs to be solved. So,
that's
um, it does bring me to a question. What is the main issue that you find or that you help people with the most? Is it what you said earlier, making a more lean company? Is it actually analyzing the finances of the company? What has been, in your experience, the kind of the key factor that most small to medium business owners face when they come to you?
yeah. So businesses, there are several issues that I see the business are facing because of mismanagement. Number
Mm,
one, they're lacking in cash flow. They don't really have a good understanding how to manage their cash,
mm,
and they are running out of money, so they need more money to run the business. But when they get more money, it doesn't mean that the business is solved. So they keep getting money, they keep getting debt from the bank, but the real issue is not solved. They
right.
don't solve their, receivables, their inventories, their payables, their sales. They don't know what they don't have any clue what's going on with their business. And the other thing that I see a problem is they're doing business because of with the basic understanding about business, that is buy and sell.
Mm,
So the mindset is trading, not even managing. They're just thinking about how to sell the product, how to get cheap product and sell it to the marketplace.
so it's more like they're focusing more on profit rather than what do people really want and how to appeal to people. Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly. And because of that mindset, then they could not even grow the business as fast as they can.
Mm,
If it's growing, they also grow their problem. They
right.
also um, grow the problem. Small problem become big problem because now they have big business.
Right.
When they have small business, they have small problem, but the problem doesn't solve until it's big, and they can see that they have a problem, but I know what to do. Then there I think about how can I help these guys,
Mm,
because I have that knowledge. I know what to do. We survived the 2002 crisis. What we do was to really focusing on how to lean our operation without have to releasing some of the people. We lean the operation. We find all the rest of the team that's available, and we put them all in the marketing department. So we
Mm.
have so many people in the marketing department. From accounting, you're not being utilized in accounting, let's go to marketing. You're not
Mm.
utilized in operation, let's go to marketing. You are in the hotel department, let's go to marketing. So we have several people in the marketing department, and we market, we create events, we create we act as if there's no crisis at all. We act as if there's no crisis.
Hmm.
We created like a weekly events, trade show, weekly trade show in all of the big malls in Indonesia.
Right.
So people see that, hey, I thought the travel business was problematic. Now you're selling. You're trying to sell, as if there's no problem. Well, today is a problem. I believe the next 2 months, the next 3 months, there will be no problem. That's what we
Mm.
do. So we ask them to book early since it's cheap. Then we sell. Every week. We have weekly trade show. It's tiring. It's very some trade show were not really successful, but we keep doing it. So
I'm
we
sure you
survive.
learned though, right? From those
Right.
events that weren't successful, you learned something,
That's
how to
right.
make the next one more successful.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the journey,
Wow.
and yeah, we survived the crisis. We survived the crisis. We grew the business. We add more people. We get great talents, because great talents were released from big boys, from big travel agents.
Right.
Great people was unemployed, so we
Mm.
accept them. We ask them to join our team, and we say we're different. What we do is we are a marketing company.
Wow.
What we do is market.
So
Who buys?
what it
Who buys
sounds like
tickets?
is you focused more on the people. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Right, right, right.
kind of the message here is you focused more on how can I get the right people,
That's right.
and a lot of companies were actually getting rid of these top talents,
Right.
which you then saw as an opportunity. Wow, I can take these very talented people and put them in a
Yeah,
position to make the company more successful. I think that's something a lot of businesses, even now with COVID, you hear a lot of businesses getting rid of their talent, restructuring. What do you say to that right now in this situation of COVID? Is it similar to back then?
well, it's similar and not similar, because
Mm.
I went through some of the crisis in 1996, 97. I was a ticketing officer,
Right.
and in 2001 we have the 911. I was a sales and marketing manager. In 2002, I was a head of division retail business development, and 2003 there was SARS.
Mm.
2003 was SARS. So we people don't go to America because of the visa is very difficult to
Right.
to get, but people can go to Singapore, Malaysia, Bangkok, Hong Kong. They can. But when SARS came in, it was
It was a
it was
whole nother challenge across Asia. Yeah.
it was a whole other challenge. Yes. So, but during those uh, crises, what we do is to be even more aggressive in marketing.
Mm.
So even though now in COVID, I ask my clients, you have to be lean, but there's two budget that you cannot, reduce. Number one is marketing. Number two is people development. There's
Mm.
these two budgets you have to, set aside and make sure it's safe. Marketing and people development. So most of our clients was, they're not just survive, but they can find more opportunities because of their mindset,
Mm.
and their focus is to, be positive and stay with the market. If you are marketing enough, you're staying with the market, you know where the market is going, and you can give them the right product to sell.
Right. So basically helping people to have that growth mindset. Don't get stuck in okay, this was the old way of doing things, but change your
Yeah.
perspective. Change how you face these new challenges, but keep two things um that you need to focus on, which is the marketing and the people development. How do you make your people grow during this time? And then how do you adapt your marketing strategy? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you also have like an autopilot mentoring system.
Right.
I follow you on Instagram, and I follow you on a lot of your social media, and you talk a lot about this autopilot mentoring system. What exactly is that?
So in business, we need to have autopilot system because that is the basic foundation to grow a business. You
Mm,
cannot grow a business if the business still depends on you.
right.
So that's the idea or the mindset that I train all my clients to have at least a proper system to make sure that people know what to do, know what to measure, and they know how to solve their own problem.
Mm.
That becomes an autopilot system.
So
But
sorry,
yeah,
so creating the right KPIs or
right,
key objective results, OKRs,
yeah,
and then guiding your team to understand, okay, these are the objectives, these are the key things that
right,
we need to be looking at. Is that right?
right. And also the standardization,
Right.
um, their reviews. So these are the basic standardization that they need to have in order for them to leave the operation and start focusing on the growth of the business.
Mm,
If they are still inside that operation, they're not really focusing on the growth of the business, then they become firefighter in the business.
right. Right.
Yeah.
And that happens to a lot. To be honest, when I started my own business, Didikanku, I kind of fell into that trap where I was the business,
Yeah.
and then I got COVID, and I had some complications, and I ended up 4 months not doing any business.
I see.
And it really, that 4 months though, it really helped me to get thinking um, into that mindset that you just said, which is how do you create the autopilot system? How do you create your
Right.
team to be able to function even when you're not around? So
Yeah.
I'm really interested in what are the steps that you
Okay.
would tell a business to get this system in place.
So the first step is to have a blueprint, is to create like if you want to build a house, then you need to have a picture, a written plan of how that house will look like when it's done.
Right.
Some business, they create a business, but they do not have a finished look of a business. How does your business look like when it's finished? They don't know. They don't know. Most people don't have
Mm.
a blueprint. So that's what we need to have. First thing first, blueprint. When you know that, okay, at the end of the day, I want to franchise my business, or I want to have my own branches, or I want to have IPO, that's going to be different uh, than if I only have, I'm just here to, to survive.
Right.
I'm here to survive. So
So,
it's okay.
so sorry. So different vision, you need a different blueprint,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
You need to be able to first understand, like they say, start with the end in mind
Right.
and then
Yeah.
create the blueprint or the vision to get there. Interesting.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and then you need to build a control foundation.
Mm.
As a foundation, we call it control. You need to be in control of your business by having two pillars. That's leadership and finance.
Mm.
You have to have a good understanding about what's going on with your finances, and you need a good leadership to make sure that all your people is doing jobs that will impacting the finance, whether
Right.
it's cutting costs or improving their sales or profit. So your leadership must understand where the business is going, what your team is doing, and are they measurable. So
Mm.
that's control. The next step is to build enough cash flow.
Right.
How to build cash flow? Cash flow is coming from marketing. The more customer you have, the more opportunity you get cash flow. You get sales. But at the but if you cannot convert those customers, you
Right.
will have a problem with cash flow.
Right.
Let's say I'm selling, but I'm giving receivables, but I cannot collect the receivables, then I have problem with cash flow.
Right.
So you have to understand that your marketing must contribute to the growth of your cash.
Mm.
And then um, we grow the system. And then we lock the system by having a standardization, or we call it consistency. We want to
Right.
be consistent in our control system and cash flow system. So whoever run the business, whoever in the business, they understand what to do. So
Right.
for instance, if some of my sales team are gone, and then new team arrive, how do I train them without me having to train them?
Mm.
So that's consistency. So we have standards where whoever leave, we have a system to replace and to make sure the new guys can um, uh,
Can
can
still
run
do
can
the
still
same
run
job
the operation
with
and do the
with
same job.
that standard.
That's
I,
correct.
I'm really interested in what you said. How do you train them without you actually training them? Um, can you explain on that a little bit? What do you mean by train them without you training them? So, do you
Yeah.
have like a team of trainers that, or
No.
is that where coaching comes in?
No. So our team, yeah, our management team. So they have a standardized system
Right.
where it's written. It's also in picture and video. So when our HR receive or accept a candidate, they will have a set of job description. And every job, there's a video. There's a video for every job, for every activity in the business. So if they want to understand what is the activity, they can just watch the video, and one senior can watch them do the job. You watch the video, I see you do the job. Based on what you see, if it's correct, it's correct. If this is not correct, I will correct you and point out which one is which one is different than what you're doing. So I don't have to be there. My team have to be there, but I don't have to be there.
Right. So basically, you created this auto system where new employees will come and do a hybrid learning where they have to put in their own self-learning effort, but then there is a specialist or a manager to make sure that they're actually applying the right knowledge and doing it in the right way. Wow. That's a very unique system, I think, that you have there. And what gave you that idea to create this hybrid learning system?
Okay. The day I fall in love with system is when I work in airline industry. 5 years. So in the airline industry, we cannot ask our superior freely. They're busy, and some of them are very far from our office. So we cannot every day ask, what's my job? What do I do now? That's a problem. So they have so many manuals where every new employee will be trained to read the manuals and to find out if you have a problem. Don't ask me, ask the manual.
Right.
Get the answer from the manual and solve it using the manual. If you make a decision with the manual, even though if it's not successful, it's not your fault. It's the manual's fault.
Okay.
So if big airlines like that can use a system, then there's no reason small business cannot use that kind of system.
Right. So basically having what they call them the SOP, right? A standard operating procedure manual, basically an SOP manual, that is your go-to guide. But don't you think that causes a bit of rigidity in the way a new employee might think, instead of allowing them flexibility to think? How do you overcome that rigidness of following an SOP?
Yes, that's very interesting, because in my experience using Six Sigma, variation is killing all businesses. If you allow people to have a flexible, attitude, even a way of doing, it's not proven. That means it's killing the business. So we have to have a proven process. So if I run a process, I do a process, it will be the same as if my colleague run the process. And the result has to be similar. The result has to be similar. If the result is not similar, that means the process is wrong. Not the people is wrong. The process is wrong. So we never blame the people.
Right.
We blame the process.
And that's where you then find ways to improve the process,
That's right.
to
That's right.
change, to adapt and grow the process. And
Yeah,
that's where the flexibility, I guess, comes.
that's
But
right.
it's through a very structured system
That's
where
correct.
the structure comes through I guess learning, right? You make mistakes in the process, so then you keep adapting and changing. Wow,
Yeah,
that's very useful things, I think, for people to learn, because I think when a lot of people think about structure, they think, oh, I have to rigidly follow this structure, but they forget that processes can adapt, can change. What would you
yeah.
say has been the biggest change of process during this pandemic, that you would give advice to people, or maybe someone who's looking for a solution, and maybe they need your advice? What would benefit them by coming to you?
Right. Honestly, this pandemic changes a lot of uh, process, which
Mm,
is I redo all my SOP in May
mm,
2002, 2020, 2020. It was updated in January. I have to redo it in May
mm,
because all the process was different, has to be different. We never had any work from home, but
right.
we have to have a process for work from home. We don't have any meetings uh, in Zoom, but we have to have a process for running a meeting on Zoom. We don't have any process of having media team at different places. So I have to record myself, send it to my team, and then the team will, edit the video and send it back to me. Those were never there before. So we have to redo all the process. So in this pandemic, I think what we have to see is to look at what the customer is looking for, what the customer wants, because we cannot be rigid with our system or our process, even though it's a perfect process. But if it's not serving the customer better, then the process is failing. The
Mhm.
business will fail.
Right.
So for instance, like I have coach a wedding organizer. So these guys are big. They are very successful, and they have standard. They have class. They are not going to accept any wedding arrangement below 300 million rupiah. Yeah, 300
Right.
million. They don't want to
Basically,
accept.
their luxury have high
Yeah,
standards, high
yeah,
quality. That's their
yeah.
market.
You
Yeah.
don't have that budget, then don't come to us.
Right.
But I said, if you keep if you keep this mindset, you will die.
Mm,
You will die. You will easily die. What you need to do is to look at how people are getting married now.
mm,
Are they getting married or not? If they're
mm.
still getting married, how? They said, I don't care. We have standard, and we will wait until the pandemic ends, and we will, recover. I said, that's the bad way of thinking. What
That,
you
that
have to do is to, go to KUA, yeah, go to the church, talk to the brides who, tanda tangan
yeah,
KUA.
who are signing the
Who are
marriage
signing?
certificates, right?
Go stay in the KUA for 2-3 days. Who are they? And how are they celebrating their marriage? How are they going to celebrate? You know what they do? They celebrate in the backyard.
Yep.
They don't go to the ballroom or even hotels to have a party.
Well,
They're doing it in their backyard.
a lot
They're
of it is though because they can't, right? Because regulations won't
because
allow them.
right, that's right. So I said it's not because they don't have the money,
Right.
but they don't need to have big events.
Mm.
So what they did was, that's how you think. Now, can you help them by creating a beautiful, intimate, um, nice wedding at home, even though it's not, or in their backyard, even though it's not it's not a building. Oh
Right.
yes, of course we can. So the budget goes from 300 million to 30 million,
Mm.
and they can have, tens of brides who get their services. Well,
Right.
long time ago, we need to have one event is for 10 brides. Now we have to have 10 brides to get one. But that's how you survive. That's
Right.
the decoration guy will survive, the MC will survive, the catering will survive, the uh, music guys will
Yep.
survive, and they will have their
It
part.
creates the ecosystem of
Right,
that
right.
business to be able to survive. And I think you touch on something very important here, which is you have to get into the mind of the customer.
Right.
You can't stick um, to your own beliefs or what you think is best, but you
Yep.
need to do research now in this time. How have customers' mindsets changed?
That's right.
And then how do you adapt based on what your customer needs are? That's very, very useful stuff. I think that's very great insight. I do have a question. What if someone has a successful business and right
Yeah.
now, due to COVID, maybe they're thinking, "Oh, I want to retire. I don't
Mm.
need the stress of changing my processes." And maybe they're already successful. They're in their 50s, 60s. And what would you say to these people? Would you say it's better retire, pass on your business, sell your business? What would you say to those people?
Well, that's actually not up to me, but I would ask them that if they have a good system in place where the system can correct itself, sooner or later they will follow the market. Sooner or later they will follow the market. If they don't want to follow the market, they will be pressurized by the market.
Right.
So even though you step away from the business, that's okay if your team know how to do problem solving. That's what I'm uh, I emphasize this thing to our clients, to have a system in place, uh, train your team how to solve problems. So during the pandemic, we coach everybody how to solve the problem.
Right.
We coach everybody how to have a creative problem solving.
Right.
We solve we help them how to do that. And if they do it properly, they will know and they will understand that every problem is a broken process.
Right.
It's not a problem. Every problem that we face, it's because of a broken process. If we fix the process, the problem will be gone.
Mm.
Like, oh, omset turun, yeah, sales is not yeah, we cannot survive. It's not because of the market, it's because we don't have the right system to grab the market.
What you do is you focus on the leadership and the creative problem solving.
Right, right. So if they step back and they have a good system in place, and the team can solve a problem, then they will eventually follow the market.
Mm,
They will not, if they don't want to follow the market will, give them headache. The market will force them to follow the market. So if uh, um, food business, F&B business don't want to follow the delivery online strategy,
right.
yeah, the market will ask, the market will they will leave the company who don't like delivery online.
Mm,
um, so that's the consequences.
right.
So
A-
that's why we emphasize uh, very um, clearly to make sure that all business owners know how to solve a problem.
mm. And I guess that problem solving comes by don't focus so much on the problem. Focus on the process to correct
Yeah,
the problem, or
that's right.
focus on the solution,
Yeah,
not the problem.
yeah,
And I think this is what makes you the number one business coach. You give a lot of very useful insight, a lot of very useful things here, and I wish I could keep talking to you about this. But I don't want to take up all your time, and we're running a bit out of time. So I do have one question that I like to ask all my first time guests, and that is, let's say that your time on in this life has come to an end. You're moving on to a better place. You've helped all the businesses. You've reached your goal. What would be two pearls of wisdom that you would leave behind for people to remember you by?
yeah. So play and win like there's no tomorrow.
Wow.
Just play. Life is a game,
Mm,
but you have to play the game.
right.
You cannot blame the game. You cannot change the game, but you have to play the game. You have to play the game to win
Mm,
every single day. You wake up, you play the game, whatever the game is, and win like there's no tomorrow.
mm,
Then there will be no regret.
absolutely. Live life without regrets.
Right.
Absolutely. Is that the two pearls of wisdom? Play and win?
Play and win.
Wow, very simple, but very powerful, I think. So Coach Tom, for those who would like to connect with you, who maybe there, I know you have a team behind you. You obviously have the knowledge. You obviously know how to help businesses. How can people reach out to you who need that support, need that help? I know you have an Instagram. Do you have any other ways for people to connect with you?
Yes, you can call us at 08111 triple one 5959 79
0811595979.
79.
Is that it?
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
595979. So where are us? WhatsApp us. What's your problem? And our team will definitely come and help.
And of course, they can follow you also on
Instagram.
Instagram
Yeah,
using at Tom
Tom MCifle.
MCIL
IFLE.
IFLE
IFLE.
IFLE. I,
IFLE.
I always read it as life, and then I look at it again, and it's
IFLE.
IFLE. All right. Do you have a website also that
Yeah,
people can go to?
www.tommcifle.com.
IFLE.com.
IFLE.com.
All right. Well, it's been a great pleasure talking to you, Coach Tom.
Thank you,
And
Dave.
thank you so much for your generosity and your time. For all the listeners and audience who are interested in our talk today, if you have any comments, if you want to get in touch with Coach Tom, we will leave that number down in the description. Just again, 081115959979. I will leave the Instagram at Coach Tom MCifle and his web address as well. So for anyone who's interested in connecting with Coach Tom, it will be in the description. If you've enjoyed this podcast, if you've enjoyed our session, please leave a comment. And if you have any questions, perhaps I can pass them on to Coach Tom, or you can reach out to him through WhatsApp yourself. So thank you again, Coach Tom, for your time.
Thanks, David. I'll see you around.
All right. So, everyone out there, please remember, stay safe, stay healthy, stay productive, and stay positive. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.
Bye bye.